Martin Scorsese has just endured a devastating blow. On January 15, 2025, the world's greatest living director received a phone call at 3 a.m. that shattered his world. The man he had shared nearly 40 years of friendship, secrets, and creative inspiration with, someone who helped shape the very language of cinema, was gone. By dawn, Scorsese had posted a tribute online that reached millions, a message that broke hearts across the globe. Yet behind his grief lay something even more painful, a hidden project they had been working on together, their final conversation, and a promise Scorsese knows he will never be able to keep. Martin Charles Scorsese was born on November 17, 1942, in the Flushing neighborhood of Queens, New York. His childhood was spent mostly in Manhattan's Little Italy, where severe asthma kept him indoors while other boys played sports in the streets. Confined to his home, Scorsese discovered films. His parents and older brother often took him to the theater, and by age 9, he was renting Powell and Pressburger's The Tales of Hoffman, 1951, repeatedly, studying it frame by frame. His parents, Catherine Kappa and Charles Scorsese, worked in New York's garment district. Charles pressed clothes, while Catherine was a seamstress. Later, both would become charming fixtures in their son's films. At the 1973 premiere of Mean Streets, Catherine famously told attendees, "We never use that word in our house. I don't know where he got it from." She was referring to the film's colorful profanity, which scandalized her Catholic sensibilities. But their cameos in Taxi Driver, Raging Bull, and the documentary Italian American made them beloved to audiences. Finding his voice at NYU, Scorsese's serious filmmaking began at NYU in the early 1960s. In 1963, he directed What's a Nice Girl? Like You Doing in a Place Like This, followed by It's Not Just You, Murray, in 1964. These shorts, shot on 16mm, revealed his talent for dynamic handheld camera work and rapid-fire storytelling. Then came The Big Shave, 1967, a shocking 6-minute short in which a man calmly cuts himself while shaving until the sink fills with blood. With its haunting jazz score, it was a metaphor for America bleeding itself dry in Vietnam. It was disturbing, bold, and unforgettable, an early glimpse of the Scorsese who would go on to redefine cinema. By 1969, at just 27, Scorsese was working as an editor on Michael Wadley's documentary Woodstock. He helped shape 120 hours of raw footage into a cohesive story, learning lessons in montage that would later define Goodfellas. Around the same time, producer Roger Corman offered him $600,000 and 24 days to direct Boxcar Bertha. It had to include nudity, violence, and car chases, classic Corman demands. Scorsese accepted, learning how to balance artistic vision with commercial pressure. A Christmas dinner in the early 1970s changed everything. Director Brian De Palma introduced him to a young actor named Robert De Niro. That meeting led to Mean Streets, 1973, and the beginning of one of the most iconic partnerships in Hollywood history. 9 films together, from Taxi Driver to Raging Bull to The Irishman. By the late 1970s, Scorsese's cocaine use spiraled into dangerous territory. At Cannes, he infamously declared, "No more coke, no more interviews," before secretly arranging for more drugs. His health collapsed. An overdose nearly caused a brain hemorrhage. It was De Niro who pulled him back, visiting him in the hospital, and urging him to live, to direct Raging Bull. Even Taxi Driver, 1976, nearly didn't survive. The MPAA gave it an X rating for violence. Furious, Scorsese considered violence of his own, sitting alone with a gun. Instead, he found a creative solution. He desaturated the blood with filters, making it darker and less vivid. The censors relented, and every frame stayed. The film won the Palme d'Or at Cannes, though it later became infamous when John Hinckley Jr. cited it as an inspiration for his assassination attempt on President Ronald Reagan. Raging Bull 1980 saved Scorsese. De Niro convinced him to tackle Jake LaMotta's brutal story. Training for weeks, Scorsese studied every detail of real boxing matches: the sweat, the blood-soaked sponges, the ropes stained red. He filmed in stark black and white, using slow motion and surreal changes in ring size to create a nightmarish atmosphere. The film earned De Niro an Oscar, editor Thelma Schoonmaker her first Academy Award, and cemented Scorsese's legacy. Even though he lost Best Director to Robert Redford, he wouldn't win that honor until 2007 with The Departed. Scorsese's career has been marked by controversy. In 1988, The Last Temptation of Christ provoked bomb threats, protests, and even an attack on a Paris cinema that left 13 injured. In 1997, Kundun earned him a permanent ban from China. Still, he pressed forward, blending his lifelong devotion to both cinema and spirituality. In the 2000s, a new partnership began. Leonardo DiCaprio sought out Scorsese, desperate to be taken seriously after Titanic. From Gangs of New York, 2002, to The Wolf of Wall Street, 2013, their collaborations became modern classics. Scorsese's meticulous touch showed in The Aviator, 2004, where he insisted on building massive scale models, some weighing 750 pounds instead of relying on CGI. In The Departed, 2006, he finally won his long-deserved Oscar. And in The Wolf of Wall Street, he broke records with 506 F-words, sparking bans and outrage abroad. Beyond his films, Scorsese has dedicated his life to preservation. Through the Film Foundation, founded in 1990, he has restored more than 1,000 films, ensuring classics survive for new generations. In 2007, he expanded the mission globally with the World Cinema Project, rescuing forgotten masterpieces from 29 countries. Scorsese has been married 5 times, but since 1999, he has shared his life with Helen Morris, a literary editor descended from novelist Edith Wharton. Despite her long battle with Parkinson's disease, she has been his rock. Together they have a daughter, Francesca, who has turned Scorsese into an unlikely TikTok star with their hilarious father-daughter videos. In 1986, Scorsese met David Lynch at the Telluride Film Festival. Both men shared religious childhoods that haunted their work, Scorsese through Catholic guilt, Lynch through dreamlike surrealism. Over decades, they collaborated on exhibitions, influenced each other's films, and shared ideas about cinema's subconscious power. They even dreamed of working together on Lynch's long-gestating project, Ronnie Rocket. Lynch wanted Scorsese to play the man with film strip eyes, a surreal figure whose blinking projected reels of film. Though the project never came to life, their creative bond was unbreakable. On January 15, 2025, David Lynch died of cardiac arrest at the age of 78, worsened by chronic obstructive pulmonary disease and decades of smoking. He passed away at his daughter's home after being evacuated during the Los Angeles Sunset Fire. Scorsese was devastated. His tribute, "We were lucky to have had David Lynch," reached over 12 million views within 24 hours. On January 22nd, Lynch was laid to rest at Hollywood Forever Cemetery among cinema legends. Despite this loss, Scorsese continues to push forward. At nearly 82 years old, he has projects lined up. A biopic of the Grateful Dead starring Jonah Hill, the life of Jesus set in modern New York, and even a Frank Sinatra film, if the estate approves. At a press conference in October 2024, he brushed off rumors of retirement. "I still have stories to tell. I hope God gives me the strength to make them."